Jaw pain is incredibly common. Upwards of 25% of people at any point in time are going to experience jaw pain. So today we're going to talk about why your jaw pain can happen, specifically why your jaw can click. First and foremost, we're going to talk about some terminology. Everybody thinks that jaw pain means TMJ. Everybody has a TMJ. TMJ stands for the joint of your jaw. It is called the temporal mandibular joint, which just stands for the bones associated with that joint. Your mandible is your jawbone that goes across the bottom and creates your chin. And then your temporal bone is the side of your head. So your temporal mandibular joint is where your temporal bone and your mandible create the joint that allows your jaw to move. When we talk about jaw pain or jaw dysfunction, it is referred to as TMD or temporal mandibular dysfunction, or you can say TMJD, temporal mandibular joint dysfunction. Now, like I said, we're going to talk about why your jaw can click. This first and foremost starts with the anatomy of the joint. Sadly, the jaw joint is the most unstable joint in the entire body. When we look at this image, this is going to be the part of your mandible the part of your temporal bone where your mandible goes up into. You would look at this little nook and say, hey, that looks like a fantastic place for a bone to go, create a nice little ball and socket joint, and then it can move. Sadly enough, that is not how your temporal mandibular joint works. This part of our temporal bone goes right onto the round part of our mandible and is essentially like trying to balance a basketball on another basketball that is lying sideways. As you can tell, that's not something that's very easy. So the stability of this joint greatly relies on the muscles and tendons and ligaments surrounding the area, as well as a little disc that goes in between these two joints here. That disc acts very similarly to the meniscus or the in between your knees or the intervertebral discs of your spine. It allows a buffer between the two bones so that the bones don't rub against each other, causing pain. What can happen is due to muscle tension in our jaw, either from clenching or for improper movements, that disc can shift forward into here, so that when our jaw opens, this bone will essentially run into that disc, forcing that disc to pop backwards, causing that popping sound. The same thing will happen as our jaw tries to close. It will start to run into the disc that is now back there, forcing it to pop back forwards into its original resting position. That is called an anterior displaced disc of your temporal mandibular joint, which creates that reciprocal click from opening and closing your jaw.